Hi, my name is Michael Meyer. I'm running Kompakt Records out of Cologne in Germany. Well, '93, you must imagine, Germany was in the like the UK. It was in the middle of the revolution. Like techno was everywhere, and Cologne was also a hotspot for techno in Germany. We had this legendary club called the Warehouse, and Space Club, and lots of other parties. But what was missing in town was a proper record store for techno and everything related. At the time, I was mostly into American house music, deep house music, and also that was quite difficult to find. So I was really, really excited when I heard the news that a Delirium record store will be opened in Cologne. Delirium was originally based in Frankfurt, and next to Hardwax, it was considered as being the best record store in Germany. So I was really excited, and I was practically waiting in front of the door for them to turn the key around on the first day, 1st of March in '93. And then when I entered the store, I was like shocked. Like there were like 3 plastic boxes with records on the floor. It was all hardcore acid. There was one box with fax records, ambient music, and I think some Force Inc. techno stuff, but nothing else. I was like, damn. Like, I started talking to the guys that were standing behind the corner, like 4 of them, 4 with longer hair, and 1 shaved. And I was like, oh, they look funny, so let's talk to them. So I started asking all kinds of questions. Why don't you have Derek Carter? Why don't you have this and that? And where's the house music? And like, come on, like this town needs a good record store. And they were just looking at me with big eyes. And they said, yeah, we're all producers. We're not DJs. We don't really know other people's records. I was like, that's a weird thing, like to open a record store when you're not really interested in other people's records. Yeah, so we started to talk, and we instantly liked each other somehow, and it was evident that they need some help with the buying for the record store. So they just tossed me the distributors list and said like, yeah, make your crosses, whatever you want, we'll order it. And 2 weeks later, I got employed. I became the buyer for the record store. And 6 months later, I invested my grandmother's heritage, 1,000 Deutschmark at the time, which is about 500 euros now. And I became a partner. So that's how that happened. Well, after the initial opening in '93, the record store opening in '93, we quickly started running several labels out of the house, and Cologne more and more became this hotbed for electronic music. Like starting a label was a bit like driving a motorcycle in the '80s. It was just the thing to do, and the Cologne approach to music has always been a bit different from what was happening in Berlin or Munich or Chicago, London, Detroit. Which led to the situation that we always had arguments with our distribution partners, because they would say, this record's crap, it's not really techno, you can't play that shit, and we became increasingly unsatisfied with the situation, so we decided we start our own distribution. Like this, we don't have to ask anyone for his opinion, and we can just release our music the way we want. And on top, we can help channel this outburst of creative energy in town, and help our friends to distribute their records too. So that happened in 1998, and so yeah, our approach was always really to carve our own niche instead of copying what's happening left and right. It was always important for us to have our own identity, and using German language in lyrics or in titles was a part of that game plan. There's nothing patriotic about it. It was just let's not try to pretend someone else. Let's be us, you know. And if we like forests, let's make records about forests. As much different we can be from the leading scenes in the rest of the world, the better. Yeah, you can separate Kompakt's history probably in 3 to 4 phases. The first one was the very close-knit one, where we just worked as a collective and didn't really bother to invite other artists, or we didn't get demos at that time anyway, so it was an easy choice to just release our music. It happened quite quickly, let's say after 2 years of Kompakt, after the record label started, there was this influx starting of demo tapes and CDRs. And that's when Kompakt started becoming more international. It was never our plan to run the label only for us. It was just we didn't have anything else. So as soon as we started getting tapes, we started inviting, I think the first foreign artist was Jonas Behring from France. Then soon we had Kaito from Tokyo joining us, and all kinds of people. So that was the start of the international Kompakt. And the third phase would be where the core artists of Kompakt, let's say Jürgen Pape, Jörg Burger, Wolfgang Vogt, and myself, pretty much took the backseat of what was happening on the label, because we had suddenly such a vast family of artists from everywhere. So it almost got difficult for us to place our own releases in that release schedule. Yeah. I think in the early days it was much easier, or the chance that we would sign an artist that sends a label, a demo by CDR or on tape would have been much higher than nowadays. Like nowadays I get about 100 demos a day digitally. That's an amount nobody can handle, and with the time, I've trained my eyes to recognize the ones that could be potentially interesting. Like if the mail only says, "Hi, I'm Alan from Arkansas. This is my techno tracks," then it's delete directly. Imagine someone sitting there for weeks and months crafting their own sound and making music and putting all their passion into this project. And then you send it to the label of your choice, and all you can write is, "Hi, this is my demo." Something's wrong about that, you know. I need to have something more personal before I even start listening to a SoundCloud link or whatever. So this is pretty much how it has been for the last years. Most of the music we sign comes in through personal contacts. Like these are people we already know, or we meet somewhere, and there's already some kind of relationship. But it still happens that we sign a complete nobody once in a while that has sent a SoundCloud link. It's something that's still possible, but it's become a rare thing. Well, total compilations are always a mix of, it's like a best of the preceding year, and then there's a bunch of exclusive tracks that are also released on vinyl separately. The way I go about it is, I'm a DJ, so in opposite to the largest part of the record industry that would always tell you, put the hits first, I would always create these compilations more like a DJ set. You know, I want to have a nice listening experience, and I don't like it in a club when a DJ starts playing banging techno as the first record, and same goes for compilations. I think it's nice to have an entry point, and then things get a bit harder at some point. So there's this, yeah, it's pretty much organized like a DJ set. Before we started the total series, the very first release on the label was a compilation called Kompakt. That was our starting point, and on that compilation we gathered music from our neighborhood, basically, just to show the diversity of sounds happening around us. And 2 years later, after we already had some 10 releases out, we figured it would be nice to have an ongoing compilation series that works almost like a yearbook, you know, something you can take from your shelf some years later and you see, oh, okay, this was a good year. This was that was a strange year. We had only Danish artists on the label, or you know, it's very nice to look back on these compilations after a while. Yeah, it was from the beginning. It was meant to be this annual roundup, also mainly for people that are not following our high output of EPs and 12 inches, because in high times we release a single a week, and it's really difficult to keep up with our output for someone that's not professionally a Kompakt fan. Happily sacrifice star acts we have on the label, you know, that sometimes they come last on the compilation. It can happen. It's all about the listening experience. I don't give a damn about status or stardom, you know. Well, the hardest times we had as a label or as a company as a whole, I don't really believe it's Corona. Like, as bad as it is right now, and we haven't seen the end of it yet. So maybe if you ask me in 2 years, my answer will be different. Fingers crossed. Now the worst period was clearly the time around 2009, like the worldwide economic crisis, which was not the only crisis we had to fight at that time. It was also right at the moment when DJs went digital. So our business model of selling 12 inches to DJs suddenly crumbled, and at the same time piracy came up, and so that was like 3 huge problems for us, and it took us a moment to adapt to the new realities. It was like really like we had very sad moments here, because we felt like, okay, this culture is just being completely dismantled right now, and obviously that wasn't the case, but it was a painful experience all in all, and to know that like the piracy issue, the lack of respect for artists and towards music is really something that shocked us. We didn't expect it to be that strong. I can understand if someone's living somewhere in a country where, you know, you don't have access to a record store, and maybe you don't have a lot of money in your pocket. So I understand that these people just take music that is there. But for any self-discerning DJ that's making money with playing other people's music, I think it's a shame when you don't pay for the music. Yeah. Well, it's a really tough question for an A&R, because I like all my children alike, you know. or equally. But it's probably a track from Total Free by Jürgen Pape. So weit wie noch nie. It's a song that's sampling a German Schlager song. It's very, it's a very particular breed of, it's house music somehow, but it's so genuinely not like American house music, and it's indestructible. Like I've been playing this song for since its release, and it's for me it's probably the best compact track of all times. There's definitely such a thing as timeless music. I firmly believe that. I'm not a nostalgic person per se. In my DJ sets, I play like, let's say, 85, 90% very current new music. But a lot of that music is certainly inspired from something that harks back to the early 90s. Like that was the magical period, like between late 80s and early 90s is when most genres kind of came to life, and the major seeds were planted. And but I don't think a timeless track needs to relate to these early days of house and techno. A timeless track can be super modern from the 2020s and still have a life in 20, 30 years. To me, it's important, like the emotional relationship I have with the track is the only thing that counts. Like I know there's so much music that is considered as timeless because these tracks played an important role in some people's lives, and I've got my own treasure chest with like my timeless classics, and I keep adding tracks to this treasure chest just because I realized, damn, I've been playing this song for like a year with like no break, and I'm still not tired of it. That's when I added to that collection. You are watching RRP TV with Michael Meyer. Thanks for listening and watching, and don't forget Total 20 will be out on August 28.